a teaching point that's kind of sort of hard. So we're going to try it with something easy, and then you're going to apply it to something harder. Okay. Can you turn the lights on? So I just want you to write down, just listen. Listen to the story. It's called Those Shoes. It's about, no, I want you to put them up.
Oh, it's just,
Yeah, thanks. Sorry. And it's about this kid. He's probably in about 6th grade. And he wants these shoes that are really popular. So it's a story of like him wanting something that all the cool kids have, and he wants it, those shoes. I have dreams about those shoes, black high tops with 2 white stripes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for want around here, just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new boots for winter. Brandon T comes to school in those shoes. He says he's the fastest runner now, not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times Nate goes to the bathroom. 7 times, up and down the hallway, just so he can strut his new shoes real slow. Next, Alan Jacoby, and then Terrence. They each get a pair of those shoes. Then, one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes comes apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mr. Alfred, the guidance counselor, says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size. Ugh, Velcro. Velcro. Like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. And they have, oh my goodness, an animal on them from a cartoon I don't think that any kid ever watched. So you're picturing these shoes with Velcro with a little animal on the side. Well, when I come back to class, Alan Jacoby takes one look at my Mr. Alfred shoes and he laughs. And so do Terrence and Brandon T and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, "How kind of Mr. Alfred." I nod and turn my back. I'm not going to cry about those dumb shoes. But when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes, and my grip is so tight on my pencil, I think it might bust. On Saturday, Grandma says, let me check out those shoes you're wanting so much. I've got a little money set aside. Might be enough, you never know. At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over to check the price. But when she sees the price, well, she sits down heavy. Maybe they wrote it down wrong, I say. Grandma shakes her head. But then I remember, the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his or got 2 pairs for Christmas and had to give one away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoes except the ones I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window, black shoes with 2 white stripes, high top, perfect shape, $2.50. Yes, those shoes. My heart is pounding hard as I take off my shoes and hitch up my baggy socks. How exciting, Grandma says. What size are they? I shove my foot into the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. I don't know, but I think they fit. Grandma kneels on the floor and she feels for my toes. You know how when you were little, your mom would like check to see how short they were? Oh, Jeremy, she says, I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit. I pull the other shoe on and I try to walk around. He's walking around really weirdly. He says, they're okay, I say, holding my breath and praying my toes will fall off right then. But my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway. I buy those shoes with my own money, and I squeeze them on, and I limp to the bus stop. At home, a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my 2 big feet shuffling around in my 2 small shoes. Sometimes shoes stretch, I say. Grandma, she just gives me a hug. I check every day, but those shoes, they don't stretch. And I have to wear my Mr. Alfred Velcro cartoon shoes to school instead. One day during math, I glanced at Antonio's shoes, and one of them is taped up, and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think, and Antonio is there, the only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfred shoes. We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoe smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think, I'm not going to do it. We leap off the swings. I'm not going to do it. We race to one end of the playground to the other, and I say, I'm not going to do it. Do what? Antonio says, breathing hard. Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too, and after supper he spies my shoes. Oh my gosh, you have those shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. Well, that night, I'm awake for a long time thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes for one last time. Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall as I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door, push the doorbell, and run. At school later, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face, but I feel mad when I look down at my Mr. Alfred shoes. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere, there's snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. New boots. New black boots that no kid has ever worn are in my backpack. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forward and says, thanks. I smile and give him a nudge. Let's race, I say. So it's a very easy story. Too easy for you. But I'm using that story because I'm going to show you something that's kind of hard. So, can you turn the lights off? Now I'm going to show you how to track the moments of choice in order to, hold on, to do this. So you know what I think I want you to do? I want you to stand up, and I want you to come up closer to the screen. And I'm going to, so I want you to come up here, guys, like so that you're right here, like an arc. So I've got the moments of choice. Moments of choice 1, moment of choice 2, moment of choice 3, and moment of choice 4 for the grandma. I'm going to think about the grandma. You're going to think about Jeremy in a minute. So, hold on, I'm going to move this forward. So I'm going to track the grandmother's moments of choice to reveal the paradox she may be holding. So I'm not really sure I'm going to be able to do this. The first moment of choice she makes is when she decides, he says, oh, Grandma, I want those shoes so badly. She says, there's no room for want around here. Kids are going to highlight, but I don't have that option. The next moment of choice she makes is, so she's kind of hardcore with the kid, and she tells him, no, we don't have the money for those shoes. You're getting boots. But then, on Saturday, she says, well, let me see. Let's think about, I'm looking where it is on Saturday. Do you see it?
Right down.
There. Oh.
Here.
On Saturday, she says, well, I got some money put aside. We might be able to do that. So now she's kind of changing her mind. Right? She's saying, let's go. We'll see if we can afford them. Okay. And then she figures out she can. Let's go to the next part. So that was moment of choice 1 and 2. Then I think, what other choice does she make? So he tells him no, then she tells him yes. Oh, I know, wait a minute. When she gets to the thrift shop, and he pushes, and somebody said they don't fit. And she says, oh, honey, I can't spend the money on that. That's moment of choice 3. She says, I can't spend money on good shoes that don't fit. It's up here somewhere. And then, let me see. Oh, I know. You know what I love about this grandma? She doesn't do the big, I told you so. The kid spends his own $250 on the shoes, but they don't fit. He's hobbling around. Now, she could have given him this big lecture, like, I told you, why are you wasting your money on those shoes? They didn't fit you, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't do that. You know what she does? He says, sometimes they stretch. She She doesn't say anything, she just gives him a hug. It's here somewhere, yeah. So then watch this. So I've got these moments of choice. Should she buy him those shoes or the snow boots? She buys him the boots. Should she scrape the money together for those shoes or save her money? She puts some money aside for those shoes. Should she spend her money to buy shoes that are too small or make Jeremy pay for them?
Got it.
Thank you. She makes Jeremy pay for them. And then when Jeremy can't wear the too small shoes, does she feel sorry for him or does she say, I told you so? She just comforts him. So those are choices that she's making. And in my mind, I have to ask myself a question. Come on. All right, come on. Oh, what paradox is she holding? So now we're getting teachers deeper. This is getting a little harder. So I've made this trusty bookmark to help me think about paradoxes different that are held in literature. Okay? Think about Romeo and Juliet, belonging and independence. They belong to their families, but they want to be independent. They're holding that paradox between those two things. Anybody see the Lego movie? I know you're older, but lots of people have been seeing it. You're holding the paradox between being ordinary and extraordinary. Is that true? What is the name of this character?
No, I haven't seen the movie.
Okay.
Emmett.
Emmett?
Emmett.
Emmett? Oh, that's
Okay.
such a cute.
Okay, so I'm thinking, well, what about this grandma? Well, one of the paradoxes I think she's holding is indifference versus empathy. So at one point she's like, I don't care how you feel, I don't care how much of those shoes you want. We don't have wiggle room, but then she feels sorry for him. She thinks, oh, all right, we'll see if we can scrape some money together. She's also holding a paradox that all parents hold between being flexible and being rigid. Like, when you get to turn 16, you're not going to get to drive until you have the money for your own insurance. They get hardcore. Then when you actually turn 16 and you actually get your license, they're like, well, maybe your dad and I could pay half the insurance. And that's the paradox that the grandma's holding too. Sort of the paradox between permissive love and tough love. And that is a sort of a tug of war that parents hold throughout their whole time as parents. So that's my model. So now it's going to be your turn. I'm going to give you a copy of the story. I'm going to ask you and your partner, I'm going to give you a highlighter. Teachers, you can help me pass these out. You each take a copy of the story, and then I'm going to give you a highlighter. I want you to go back and with your partner, highlight the moments of choice that Jeremy makes. Can you start to do these out for me? Thanks. Moments of choice that Jeremy highlight and number those. So teachers, one of my instructional decisions is when I have less time, I just give them the moments of choice. Because I don't always have enough time. But I have 15 minutes, so go with it.
He's gonna say he's not gonna let this get to him because
You should be talking, give your, so I'm gonna do something teachers I don't normally do, and that's call on people. So I'm gonna ask a couple people, what's a moment of choice Jeremy has? Moment of choice early in the story, right here.
When he found out that the sneakers were too small, he still got them.
When he finds out these sneakers are too small, I wish my toes would fall off, but I'm spending my money anyway. And you can tell this kid does not flush with cash. So he's making a choice to spend the money even though the shoes are too small. Okay, and what does that tell you about him? Just like with Ben earlier, we were talking about Romeo. What if you spend money for something that's too small, what do we know? You really want them. Then why does he really want them though? He wants to be popular. He wants to be cool. What's another moment of choice? Yeah, right here.
When he gives the shoes to his friend.
He gives the shoes to Antonio at the end. He runs him over to his apartment. He rings the doorbell and he runs away. And what does that reveal about him? What do we know about what kind of person he is based on that action?
That he cares about other people.
That he cares about other people, that he's caring, which is what Michaela was saying. He values friendship. Yeah, he wants a friend, yeah. Some other moment of choice? Another moment of choice in the back.
He realizes that he can't wear the shoes, so he has to wear his old shoes.
Okay, at one point, when this counselor gives him the
Alfred.
the dorky, the geeky, the dorky shoes, the little kid shoes with the Velcro and the animal on the side, he could have started throwing a tantrum. And like, there is no way I'm wearing those. I'd put my broken shoes on before I'm walking back to that math class with those dorky little kid shoes on. But he makes a decision to put on the Mr. Alfred shoes. I want everybody to turn and talk. When he makes the decision to go along with the counselor and put on the dorky little kid Velcro shoes, what does that tell you about Jeremy? Turn and talk, because that's a little harder, teachers. What does that tell you about him? Turn and talk right now, go. When he puts on the little kid dorky shoes that the counselor gives him, what does that tell you about him? About Jeremy?
To an extent, of course. I think Jeremy is very flexible. He's very flexible to an extent, because earlier in the story it says he's not going to actually don't get to like as he does he's not really starts
But the part of him choosing to put on those. Okay, so come tell me, what's your name?
My name's Brendan.
Brendan. So Brendan's going to tell you his thinking about what it tells you about Jeremy that he would wear the dorky Mr. Alfred shoes. Go ahead.
Well, I think it says about Jeremy that he's very flexible, that he's very loose because, he's very flexible, he's very loose, and because, I'm very terrible at speaking in public in front of class.
Okay. What about, though, if you had to say that in school Jeremy is kind of a rebel or kind of a goody-goody, what do you...
Goody-goody.
He's a goody-goody. He didn't want to insult, he was kind of sensitive. He didn't want to insult this counselor giving him these dorky shoes. And he knows kids are going to laugh at him, but he puts them on anyway. So he wants to be obedient, and he also kind of wants to be grateful. So tells us a whole lot about him. Thank you. So can we turn the lights down a little bit? Let's look at the moments of choice that Jeremy makes. Should he buy those shoes even though they don't fit, or save his money while he buys those shoes? Because this was pointed out early, he's desperate, man. He wants to be popular. Should he keep those shoes or give them to Antonio? What did we say? He gives him the shoes, right? And the last one, should he hold onto jealousy about those shoes and still feel really mad, or appreciate the new boots? And what does he do? He appreciates the new boots, and he appreciates his friendship. He lets go of jealousy, and he moves towards sort of acceptance. And then the other piece is, when he decides to put on the Mr. Alfred shoes, he's showing flexibility, and he's also showing that he's a pretty obedient kid. He does what he's supposed to. He's a good boy, right? He's being a good kid. So now, this is the harder thing. If I can get this slide. Everybody look at your bookmark. Can we turn the lights on again? I want you and your partner right now to talk about what paradox is Jeremy holding in this story? And what two directions is he being pulled? Can you turn and talk right now? Turn and talk. What paradox is he holding? You guys can do it just one. All right, so how many people said that he is holding the paradox between jealousy and goodwill? This, my friends, is pretty much the very obvious answer. He could feel jealous of Antonio, and he's jealous of his friends. Or, so your first answer, teachers, is the obvious answer. Right now, I've given you a Post-it note. I want everybody to put their name on that Post-it note right now. Put your name on it. So you need a writing tool. We're going to collect these at the end of the period, sort of your exit slip, as they say here. I want you, we have 6 minutes, right? I want you for 2 minutes to talk to your partner about one of these other paradoxes, not jealousy versus goodwill, because that's kind of the easy answer. If you were in 5th grade, I expect you to come up with that answer. What other paradox? And there might be a paradox that he's not holding that's not listed here. These are just like suggestions. You might come up with another thing which way he's being pulled, okay? And then after you talk to your partner for 6 minutes, I want you to write about it on here. I want you to say, Jeremy is holding the paradox of this and that because. The big thing there is the because. What evidence do you have? So first talk, and then I'll give you the 2-minute warning. Talk about this, and then start writing about it. Talk now. Something else.
Here, dreams around what he dreams he wants and what he needs, the reality. Say more about that. When he dreams, and why is that a reality?
I'm not seeing evidence on these Post-it notes. I need to see evidence from the text. This, like in the story when he does that, and then X when he does, you have to put the evidence from the text, and I know you have been taught that over and over again. So guys, in a minute, we're going to hear the bell, and on your way out, Betsy's going to stand by the door. She's going to collect these Post-it notes from you. These are going to be your exit slips. You got another minute, so please keep writing. Make sure you have evidence on there of both things. Read it to me. Great work unit will be in tomorrow, and we may continue this or go in a different direction. Let's see what we're going to do.
Guys, you are an awesome
Awesome
class.
group. Very good.
Really, really nice.
Oh, and I need all of the highlighters. Teachers, pick them up for me so I'll have them for my next. Just the Post-it. Just the Post-it.
Travis.
But don't get rid of these stories, because we
This
give me that
class,
highlighter.
this class when I come back.
That's the one
I want to thank you so much. I love this class.
Okay, guys, thank you. Make sure you hand in your Post-it on your way out the door. Yeah, you're gonna need those tomorrow.
I
So
see
don't get
you
rid
all
of
always well.
don't get rid of those papers.